I'd like to call the meeting to order for Monday, April 20th, 2026 at 6 p.m. here at the town hall. Need a motion to adopt the agenda. Any changes? I have a couple. GMP final design. Tim contacted us and they're not ready. It might be in July. Any other changes or additions? Here, yeah.
Sullivan Powers.
Oh, yes, Sullivan Powers. We got an accepting the engagement letter for Sullivan Powers. Maybe we can put that as number 4.
Oh.
I think the board members all have that. Any others on the board? So can we adopt the agenda with those changes? I need a motion.
So good.
All in favor of adopting the agenda with those changes? Aye. Approve minutes of regular meeting of April 6th. Any corrections or additions? I had on page 3, there's some just typos where it starts with Sam Battalino. You've got who, it should be how.
I did make this correction.
You did?
I sent them to Michelle.
Is that first sentence? Sam Beverly asked if anyone knew how many visitors.
It's fine.
It's corrected.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't get the correction, so I didn't make it.
It's okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So you already made those corrections, there's like.
Yeah,
Okay.
Michelle pointed them out to me and I corrected them and sent them.
Okay,
to her. She may not
correction.
have sent them there.
Okay, all in favor of the minutes corrected, for April 6th, I have a motion.
So moved.
So good.
All in favor?
Aye.
For Sullivan Powers, they, there's some new figures. We have budgeted 25,000. They have 22,000 plus 7,500 if we have to do, a line item. And it would be 29,500. But talking to Kim, she thought we may not need to have that, 7,500. So we should be on budget. So we need a motion to accept Sullivan Powers engagement letter. I have a second. All in favor of Sullivan Powers engagement letter at 29,500?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Number 5, official Betsy Ross American 250 celebration flag. Is that yours, Kim?
Yes, that's Sullivan Powers, everyone is fine. So the Betsy Ross celebration flag, Vermont Covered Bridge Society is working and got a grant from the Vermont Historical Preservation for $5,000. And I got an email from Gary Briggs from Bloomsburg, Vermont. And the Vermont Covered Bridge Society also got a grant of $1,615. And with that grant, what they hope to anticipate is to deliver one Betsy Ross American celebration flag to every covered bridge, municipal covered bridge in the town, state of Vermont. That would be 87 flags. So they want to free of charge give us a Betsy Ross celebration flag to put up on our Kidder Hill Covered Bridge. They'll deliver it on June first, hardware included along with a large flag. As long as the select board's aware of it, they're okay with it, it can go anywhere you want on the bridge. And they just asked that possibly maybe you can get the road crew to actually put the flag up. So it's there's no charge for it, it's kind of exciting. They'd like to leave it up, it sounds like they want to leave it up till December. So it would begin on July 1st until December of 2026. Or no, through the end of December of 2027.
Oh, wow.
So, but they're very excited about it. They want to make sure all select boards know about it, and it is, if it's okay, that they send us one. I told them I couldn't imagine not, but I would check with you anyways. As long as everyone doesn't mind putting it up, the hardware will be included.
So you want the board, you need a motion from the board to accept this, or?
Yeah, I think I would like that.
Well, I'll make a motion to accept the official Betsy Ross America's 250th celebration flag for the Kidder Hill Bridge.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And just so you know, Vermont's gonna be probably the only state in the union with all 87 historic covered bridges with an official flag on
Oh, nice.
it.
Well, Kim, thank you for, finding that out and getting that letter. Grafton Historical District road signs? Carol?
So I was gonna bring good brochures, but it's a lot of work for him to get out and get up here.
Okay,
He decided at this time to really add anything, but I had been visiting him, a few months ago. And he shared that it was really bothering him that they had done all the work to declare 4 historic districts in Grafton, and there were no signs to recognize them. And he had mentioned that he had talked to GIA and never heard back. So being on the board, I brought it there, and they're like, well, you know, what are you asking? And I said, I don't know. So then I was thinking about it, and I did some research. I talked to a couple people from the Division for Historic Preservation and a state architectural historian. And checked into if there was any specific requirements for the signs, any standards you had to meet or anything. And they said that it's really up to the towns, you know, what you would choose to do. And then I brought it to the Grafton Historical Society, because that's where I guess they did most of the work to, when Dick was on the board there, to declare these sites. And they're interested in helping it move along. And so they had mentioned there's some really nice signs over in Chester in the Stone Village. And they were we all need to go and look at them, and they were gonna take some pictures, and we were gonna talk at our next meeting. And one of the things that I already figured, and you know, the state mentioned, is we need town's permission to do any signs. And originally, when I talked to Dick, he was talking about signs entering the districts from all the entrances. And we were talking at the GHS that would be a lot of signs, and that it might be overwhelming. So I talked to Dick and I said, you know, one sign needs to just be acceptable, and he thought that was. It would be a lot less expensive to do. So really, I'm just putting it on your radar, seeing if you have any opposition. You know, if you come up with a sign or a suggestion, we will bring it back to you to pay that sign. I'm not sure yet where the money might come from for the signs, and the GHS doesn't have a lot of funds. They're usually trying to search for funds to keep going. You might have to do some fundraising, maybe there's some grants. But it's just really to put on your radar and see if you're okay with us moving ahead to whether it's worth doing it for.
Do you know the price of the signs?
It would depend on what we get.
Oh, okay.
You know.
And
And
these,
the locations we're sort of tossing around is up in Middletown. There's already a plaque there, so we thought maybe near that. But Dick said any of the road frontage he owns would be good. Somebody had mentioned possibly near the fire station, there's already a sign, so maybe the welcome to Grafton sign, maybe it could hang, because that's Mechanicsville, or the Howville Bridge, because that's right where most of the work was done in that area. And then, somewhere in town, Dick suggested possibly near the bridge, and then we'd have to come up with a spot up in Hodenville. So those would be the 4 places.
Any discussion from the board? I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's nice to highlight Grafton. I don't have any objections. Any other comments from the board?
Mhm.
I'm in favor. Do we want to motion that we support it pending further information?
Yeah.
Also,
I'll second. In a second. All in favor of that motion? For the song, the celebrate, historical signs?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Cheryl, thank you so much. Highway report.
Yeah,
Travis.
been heavy grading and raking. We're kind of headed out of mud season at this point. When the weather allowed, the grading didn't happen, we did some ditching around town and we put our first culvert in for the summer. And, other than that, street sweeping is lined up for May 1st.
yes,
BDM on the key.
for the summer, it was snowing, didn't it?
Yeah.
Supposed to snow tonight, cause it snowed all day at our house, on and off.
It makes better.
Thank you, for having Lane do the Parker Hill. I mean, it was getting bad, but it's great now. I know you've been out there.
Doing our best to get around.
Any other concerns for the road for Travis here? Suzanne?
Thank you, Ken. So the street cleaning is scheduled for May 1st. That's good, because cleanup day is also May 2nd.
May 2nd.
Okay. So I have a question for you about, Main Street and Pleasant Street. Are the street cleaners supposed to go up and down both sides?
Yes.
You remember them always going up and down both sides at Pleasant Street, remember? Hopefully it'll be easier to clean than no bus to feed. Okay. Alright.
Theoretically, this should be the whole village, and if time allows, the bridge.
The both sides.
Are you doing the bridges too?
If time allows, the budget, I guess, yep.
Okay.
When you're saying bridges, just the ones in the village?
All of them.
All of the bridges.
All the
Look
bridges,
at-
if
oh,
possible.
And what about the potholes? Have to wait till it gets warmer or something?
Which one?
Which one? There's a lot.
Yeah, you can, the bridges, or the blacktop.
On the blacktop.
We could, are you talking like Cambridge Ford, where else?
Yeah, it's beyond the farm.
Yep, we've done our best to get the
Okay.
deep ones, that would full patch, a very thin pothole, the full patch doesn't seem to stay. Especially if a rain comes, it'll kind of blow out the full patch.
Mhm.
Hot mix would be the ultimate solution,
And what about the one on the Cambridgeport Bridge?
that one we can, that's on our list.
Yeah, I try to avoid it.
Yeah,
So the one on Celebrate is getting deeper now. You've already done that once, but it's down the cat.
So thank you for all you do on that. Appreciate that. Kim?
You wanna go to your excess when you want?
Oh, sorry, missed it. Does Peter have that? Oh, you have that, okay.
To make a motion to accept it.
Yes, okay, sorry, I should have picked this up earlier. This is a request from Normandy Transit Inc. And, for, maximum weight of 80,000. What did I read before? Is that sufficient information?
No. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
that's sufficient information.
We don't usually read them. So,
Oh, we just know.
no, because they're on the.
Oh, yes. Sorry. So I move approval.
Okay. All in favor of approving the excess weight permit for Normandin Transit Incorporated? Any opposed? Motion has it. Any other before Kim?
Just a question, Charles, the patch on the Penfield Bridge, the iron plate, how's that holding up?
I don't think Travis knows about that, it's holding up our.
Okay, all right, thanks, Dave. There's there was a hole in the bridge that had a patch with an iron plate. And they did say there was a danger around the edges, possibly, so it's just one. All right, thanks, Dave.
I stopped and looked at it the other day, it's covered with sand.
So, and actually, that kind of made me think that, the street cleaning on the bridges might clean that off and help along. When we put it in, there was a lot of sand along the side, which probably just.
I didn't see anything wrong with it, it seems so, it tells up the window.
Okay, great, thanks. All right, so we got that, it seems like you've been here forever. Charlie.
Kim?
I really don't have much to say other than, May 15th is fast approaching. It's the end of our fourth quarter tax payments, which would be due by 4 o'clock that day. Anything after 4 o'clock will impose a current 8% penalty. And we will no longer be late, it will be considered delinquent. So closing mark is not accepted. That's all I really have for an update. I will be, like I said, updating the unregistered dogs. And I'll be bringing that before you in the next couple weeks. And giving a copy to Ashley Pinger, our animal control officer.
Is that list still high?
Yeah, there's still only, but maybe 156 dogs, and last year we had just about over 200. It's about 200 dollars, so we're still down quite, I still got a pretty good stack. And the fee on that is your usual either 11 or 15 for spayed or neutered, and an $11 late charge on top of that.
Okay.
And the late charge goes to the town as a fee.
Well, thanks for that update. Committee reports, cemetery committee, anything new?
This is a little bit new.
Okay,
Last Wednesday, April 15th, I'm reading from notes that we're keeping, I accompanied Austin Powers and cemetery contractor Jeff Potter's son Tyson on a tour of 4 town cemeteries. Austin, who serves as the town cemetery agent, had previously identified those cemeteries as containing gravestones needing repairs. Kim had arranged for Tyson to be there with orange tape to mark the stones he was going to undertake. The cemeteries are the Grafton Village, Middletown, Houghtonville, and Burgess. Not included were the Stiles and Cobb West cemeteries. Tyson's a friendly, energetic person who presents as experienced and competent. The services for which he is primarily responsible in the family business are grave digging and stone repairs. He's quick to diagnose why certain stones have broken or fallen over and how to fix them. Installing metal pins in drilled holes and then applying adhesives is the principal repair technique he uses. The business arrangement that Tyson has and attributed previously by Kim He provides maximum payment, he is provided a maximum payment for time and materials of $4,000 and allows contractors to proceed with fixing stones until they reach this cap. The reimbursement system amounts to about $1,000 per day. More oversight could be imposed by the town, but it relies primarily on trust and experience that seems safe in this instance. No specific work schedule was discussed, nor were further authorizations to proceed. Tyson said that he would get back to Kim for the specific schedule. It's not clear to me where the cemetery agent and the select board fit into this process, or even if they should. So that's the report from that tour. I would mention as well that this morning it was noted to me that there was a blowdown at Houghtonville that didn't pre-exist. It wasn't evident when we made the tour last week. So I went out and took a look, and somebody had mysteriously and generously cut it away from one of the stones that had been damaged. So whoever that is should speak up so that he or she can be applauded. There was some question about who would go back and make sure that this particular stone was liberated enough to be fixed when Tyson goes back. So that was good news, and whoever did it deserves applause.
We should, Jeremy, who's finish the project. It's not all picked up, we should come up with who's gonna do it now and in the future.
It's a good point. I don't know who intends to do those things. Who does? Is the town crew an option?
Well, I think that's who should do it, is the town crew should do it, because that's one of the reasons why we got a fourth man to do some of these things. So,
Did it fall in within the cemetery or outside the cemetery?
It fell from outside into the
Oh, I see.
cemetery.
Yeah, it was, from the picture, it was from that right of way that runs up beside the cemetery.
the Greystone was Clark. And Gates was right next to it, but it
Yeah.
didn't. That's bad.
But I can follow up and we can sort that out. I don't know if any specific action is needed by the board.
No, I believe so, other than I'd like to make sure our cemeteries are cleaned up and looking nice, especially for Memorial Day.
So
Tim?
just a question, and to be clear, so moving forward, whenever trees or limbs do come down, then it's just a matter of contacting the road crew. We're gonna assume that they're gonna be able, since they're trained and have the equipment to remove trees. And we're not talking little limbs, but this happened to have been a pretty large branch,
So is the whole tree.
Yeah,
whole tree, yeah.
it took some work to get that done and hauled off. Because there wasn't, it could have used some raking, but the big work had already been done.
Yeah, and it took a large stone right off its base. Didn't damage the large stone other than took it off the base, and I did contact Tyson and Jeff. To let them know that we've added that to the list, so that could be a little extra above and beyond. To be repaired. And I sent them a picture.
Yeah, the whole way of estimating their time and materials is, it's pretty soft, but appropriately soft. And as Tyson explained and educated me, you never know exactly how long it's gonna take and, where these pegs and so forth are gonna go in and whether the adhesive's gonna hold, all that stuff, so you move as best you can. So they may not get all the ones that he had marked, but maybe he will, and it won't be any additional cost.
As I said, he's the one that had gone around in the fall. And gave an estimate of the cost for the trustee of public funds to cover it. For the stones that we had identified. So probably we can do it within the amount that he estimated and that the trustees approved. That was 4,000.
So we don't need any motion for that, this is the trustees.
The trustees already had a due date at our last meeting. We just weren't aware of the one that just happened. But I can't imagine that it'd be that much more added to it. That it would be something that we could talk with the trustees and continue there, and then the thought was eventually we'll start trying to add something to the general fund for these repairs, because we just don't want to keep going to the trustees and depleting all of that.
Yeah. You know, the only thing I would add to that is that there were some additions to the stones that had been previously identified that were made in the tour. And the reason was because there were others that had fallen down that were, oh, that's not too difficult, I can take care of that. I don't think any of them healed themselves. But that was, so some flexibility in terms of what he marked.
Okay. But back to the cutting of the tree, so can we
Yeah.
kind of just finalize that in minutes?
Mhm.
Do we need a motion on that for the town crew to do? Dave?
I don't have a problem with the town crew doing it, but if the trees are like unsafe for us to cut, if they're hung up or something, I think.
Or why?
You know, to call someone in to do it.
Right. I think this one looked like it was pretty well on the ground.
It was still hung up,
Well,
we would have probably been able to
I
get.
only saw a picture, so I can tell.
Yeah, it snapped off probably like 15, 20 feet off.
There's a dead one right next to it, too, they
Should that be dealt with?
should be cut down the same
Is
time.
that something you guys can cut, or is it too big?
Okay. I've seen it, so I wouldn't dare say if we could put it on.
Have you seen it, Travis? I'd ask you guys to look at it, get back to us. You think it's needs someone professional to do it, we do have money in the budget for that. Contact Kim, right?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Is the brush still all out there? Or did someone pick all the brush up?
Peter went today, so I
I
they
think
cut, it looked like they cut all the branches off and just left it.
Peter, did they?
Probably needs to be
Did they
raked.
leave the branches and everything there, or did they?
No, something
Oh,
mostly I had seen a picture, a photograph this morning, that had a lot more tree involved with it. And, there's not that much, tree, that about, 3/4 of the one that damaged the stone have been removed.
Is the town's property right at the edge of that, John?
The left,
The property line, is that?
that's the right of way, yeah.
So that tree's in the right of way then?
Well, the right of way to get into the guy's land in the back,
Yeah.
that's where it came from. Which is town land.
Yeah.
and the other tree that needs work is on the right of way too.
And the dead one, the same, well, it's just.
Same spot, okay.
Yeah.
There's another tree up there, I don't know if you took care of it, I mentioned it. I think the cemetery, when you talked about it, it took me a long time to find one of the names on the veteran list, and it's because there's a tree growing up, it's one of the tallest monuments, and there's a tree growing right up to the back of it. And it's a veteran who didn't have a marker or a flag because you couldn't tell they were there. So I don't know if you talked about that and I brought it up to the cemetery. You were up there, and I think it's to take care of that too, because it's kind of disrespectful.
Is that a tree that can be cut?
I think
Safely?
that happened maybe a while ago, started growing, didn't get mowed or something, because I don't think anybody would have ever intentionally planted one right to block the rig. But like, I looked almost a year. before they found
Maybe
that.
someone put a flag on it, so we know which one it is.
Mark, I'm going up soon, but maybe one of these would call that tape vacation.
Yeah,
Use-
colored tape. Speaking of the cemeteries, I know last year I took a lot of pictures of the village cemetery here with the falling down fences. And I know a few years ago, I know Joe was looking into repairing that and kind of stayed at a standstill, so is that something the cemetery committee can revisit that?
Yeah, I think Peter and I can meet and talk about it. I was talking with Kim as well about, some sort of demarcation for a parking area. Because people kind of pull in, those inset stones that I think people don't realize are actually, plots, and they tend to park them.
Oh,
Ooh,
So, yeah, either a fence or designated parking somehow or both. So, yeah, we could talk about that.
We're also
one.
talking about the craft cemetery too, I think.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Hopefully, cemetery, craft.
No, I meant the village one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The fence, all that fencing
talk about both.
is really in poor condition. It doesn't look good.
We can, go take a walk and look at it.
But if you want me to send you the pictures, I got them on, I think I still have them on my camera.
One more thing, Abby.
Mhm.
On the land that we acquired on 35, which sometimes
Oh, right.
be a cemetery.
Mhm.
I think we should ask Michelle to call the state forester and ask him how he's doing about coming in and marking some of the trees. He said he'd be in the spring, but we haven't heard from him.
What would be marking about the trees, which ones to
Which one's to back, so we can have this.
remove them?
If it's worth harvesting. Also, at the highway garage, right? I'm just gonna do that too.
That's true.
Is there another spot? I thought there
No,
were
just two.
just the two.
They were up there last fall, and they went down.
Yeah, he went out there, but then he said he'd come back in the spring because he was busy and. I don't know, but
Is this the one from the state?
this is Saxon River.
Okay. Tax committee. Yes, sir.
yeah, we're set. We have not done,
Okay.
I've been away and we haven't done the walks that we were gonna do. We're gonna do them this week. So we'll have more to report at our next meeting.
Would it be appropriate to share, information that I attended a GIA meeting the other night?
So,
Yeah,
sure,
go ahead.
So the discussion came up apparently in the porta potty, which is in the parking lot, which is a rental. Apparently the rate of the rental fee has gone up. Started the conversation of should we look at a facility, a permanent structure that might require pumping rather than rental. The three of us that are on the village park committee, we talked about that, but we didn't go very far with that. But GIA has offered to pay the rental again for the porta potty this coming year, so we're okay for this year. But I told them that if they want to provide personnel and funds and build a structure there, that conversation really needs to happen with the select board, not with, we don't, the committee volunteers don't have any jurisdiction to say, yeah, put a building there. The same issues arise that arose when we did the other building. Insurance, those sorts of things, placement. So it really requires input from you folks. So that I would be the delivery boy of the news that they've made an offer. They're looking for direction and input from you folks.
I guess.
I would mention that I heard today from GIA and I thought I sent you some copies of communication. So that connection and those conversations have begun.
Yeah, I think we need to have a conversation at the committee level, and then we'll bring it back here and see what happens.
Yeah, but I just.
So we know, yeah.
I would bring it to you folks and.
Yeah, I was aware of that, but just didn't.
At the last meeting, there was a question from somebody in the audience of how much the park was being used. So I think that would have a bearing on how much spent on another building.
I agree. I also think, the amount of use that the park has received historically and the amount of use it receives in the future may be different numbers. For a long time, people in town I talked to, I've lived there all my life and never been to Village Park. And I think now that we've done some work there's some maps, there's improvements made, I think it's getting more use, but still is the legitimate question is how much? And Jeff Nugent from Wyndham Regional Planning has offered to put, they put a mat down and then cover it over with a little bit of soil, so people don't recognize it's there. And it's a counter. He's offered to put a counter in the list, so we have some idea.
That sounds like a great idea, to be honest with you. That sounds like a really good idea.
Right.
The counter, because I know that people have made the comment that wouldn't it be nice if there were facilities or at the last Outdoor Alliance session where people were putting stickies on things that thought of that would help or they would like to see the actual usage, I think would have a huge bearing on it, on any kind of further discussion, I would think.
Yes, and I think if there was a facility, who maintains it? That's not my job description.
Nor mine, nor the highway department. That is going to probably be a big area, I would think, but. Thank you though, Al, and we will get together committee level and then report out. Going forward, that'd be great.
I do have to add that I do have more people come in inquiring about the park. And keeping the map on the back of the town report has been very helpful,
Nice,
because
yeah.
we just handled that, and they're thrilled with that, so I think that's been more and more each year.
That's great.
Good. Well, thank you, Aunt Al, for your input there. That's helpful. Any other highway?
Yeah, Travis, do you have any update on the new truck?
I don't like to reach out.
Oh, no, that's useful.
By new truck, you're talking the October truck.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we have the other one.
but the other ones.
Personnel.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, Kim.
Back to the Parks Committee, was it, did you want to talk about the park bench? I think Leela Bay was inquiring about replacing the park bench. The one at Wilson Park, it's all
Oh.
filled with moss and mildewing. I'll let you take it here.
Sure, this is quite preliminary. This is something that's come up this morning. There are 3 benches down toward the bridge, and the first one has a bunch of fairly dry moss on it. The rest of the structure of the bench looked pretty good to me. It looked like it was shaky. It looked like it might be rotten, but I was thinking about sitting down on it, but I didn't want to get my pants over there. So I think some more exploration there about the structural stability would be useful. And that's something that I was intending to get after.
This is Leela Bates.
So hi.
She's the one that is
Lisa.
Oh, wonderful. Nice.
Yeah, and so, after Cheryl called and asked if anybody from my family would march in the parade, I reached out to my cousins who started a huge discussion about that bench. And, we came up with a proposal actually to pay for the replacement of it. So I'm so happy to hear that you were talking about it.
You're gonna talk here. Yeah, so within, yeah, this.
My cousins and I would like, I have 26 cousins that are interested right now. So I don't know, I didn't know what to do for that for the town, but I did propose.
That's great.
And
Is it your assessment that it needs replacement? That it's
But I-
not big enough?
I just had no idea what the town would, like to have happen. Certainly, it could be replaced, that would be wonderful. We also researched a couple of benches in case replacing the slats was not what everybody wanted. So I can hand you my proposal when I'm finished next year.
Sounds like a generous offer and you and I ought to meet for it.
Leila, can I just ask a question, for the uninitiated, I'm also on the Parks Committee. What is your relationship with that park? I do not know the history, and I suspect others.
I guess donated it.
Is this the Winnie Park?
No,
No, it's a little.
Oh, the Wilson Park.
Wilson Park.
I don't,
the Wilson Park.
what's the Winnie? Park?
Right, exactly.
Winnie Park is down further.
Okay, so I don't even know which park you're talking about. Okay, great.
Who's here in town?
And so.
Cool, nice to, I'm happy to know that, thank you. Because I don't know.
Yeah, exactly, it's just that little narrow district there. Exactly.
Is that the, what, I don't know where it is.
Isn't it the one down here?
The village pages, it's.
Yeah, that strip of land that they took the house down and they.
Where the pump
The
is.
pump house. Yeah,
So that also gets mowed by the parks.
yeah.
I honestly thought that was.
And there's-
Okay.
Yeah,
It's gonna be in the, what we got from FEMA. It has to not go away in the flood. If you're gonna put it back by the bridge, that's not in the FEMA portion, but if it's in the FEMA portion. You better just don't put it in the FEMA. Those branches that are in the FEMA portion are really heavy, they're not going anywhere.
What's the difference than the pavilion in Winnie Park that's in the FEMA portion?
Pardon me?
Because it's open, you can go through.
Yeah, well, eventually pretty well open.
I don't know.
It took the victim table
That, I don't know that that's a problem, Dave, but
But it's.
Robert.
They were me.
It was Robert.
It was me.
oh, okay. Yeah, okay, I don't know about the bench in there, but if nothing has changed, what was there is fine.
okay. Any other discussion? Thank you so much.
That's lovely.
Um, Personnel, I think the only thing we need to work on, Anna, is the
Good one.
the wording language, so we can get together.
Let's have a meeting.
And that was on vacation days.
Yes.
Any update on July 23rd flood update? You have anything?
No. Well, things are moving along a little faster now, but it's still gonna take some time.
Okay,
We're trying to get it out to bid so they could do it this year, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
okay. 10, local emergency management plan 2026, we did update it and we'd like to send it out. We need the select board to approve it. I know Michelle contacted several folks that were listed on the emergency plan. They had no other changes. So I need a motion from the board to approve that plan.
Rodney
Any
had
questions?
one Jane. That you mentioned Michelle about, right?
Mm-hmm,
It wasn't gonna change.
wasn't a change.
So it was, instead of needing the James and here, you wanted to have it all here.
No,
No.
it's listed on the plan that here in the town highway garage can be meetings.
Right,
Right.
My opinion is, if that's listed on the plan, then that's where those meetings need to happen,
mhm,
but not somewhere else.
Right.
I understand at times you can't get to the highway garage and there's been parking issues here. Whatever that is. But as soon as the road was open to the highway garage last time, nothing got moved up there. It was still subbed out, or however you wanna word it. I just feel like if those are what's gonna be listed on the plan, then that's where they need to be held. It's just my opinion. If you wanna hold them somewhere else, then they should be on the plan.
Well, do you want
Or it's
that,
not.
do you want that written into it?
It's already in there. Those two places are listed
Okay,
as.
well then, there should be no question
So,
about
yeah,
it.
there's
then.
no, there should not be any changes. He's making a point that,
Just making a point from the last,
Okay,
that's all. Not a change.
I'm sorry, I lost track, Madam Chair. Are we talking about the primary versus alternate shelters?
no,
No.
nothing about shelters.
Abandoned.
It's where the emergency management is housed here for an emergency. The alternate plan would be up at the highway garage. Sometimes you can't get to the highway garage because the road might be washed out.
The last flood though, neither place was used.
Um,
Where was the site?
Yeah, what was this?
So where did it take place, Bobby? I'm sorry, I'm kind of lost.
the old highway garage, Jamie's place.
Oh,
So we have two places that you can meet.
Well, I guess my point is, we spent over $1 million on that highway garage
Mhm.
with office space and everything for that reason. And then it wasn't even used.
Cause everything from the highway is here now in the town hall. So it's a matter of putting back some of the stuff at the highway garage too,
Well, just for the incident command center,
Right.
it's now
here.
this up here.
Well, then there's radios here too. then.
Right.
Radio.
Right, I understand that, but all those meetings at the end of the day and stuff should have been there.
Bill?
We have
The contractors were there every day.
Well, yeah, for those, yeah, but not.
Okay, one person at a time. Bill, go ahead.
When the garage was built, we had no place to meet because this was back.
Right.
We put in the radio connections over there. And this is a much more convenient place to do it, so we changed the place to meet here. Also, because the highway garage will be used primarily if we have another Irene as the operations center where the truckers will go to check in the morning and so on and so forth. Okay. This is where the ELC will be.
Right. That's all I'm saying is, that is what is listed on the thing. Others did not go to the highway garage in the last flood. It was all met somewhere else. That's my only point, and it's getting blown up out of proportion right now.
I guess,
I don't think it's been blown out. I think it's just
Yeah.
clarifying.
cause everything got done wherever they did meet, so I don't think there's any big problems.
It's simple. I still need a motion to accept our local emergency management plan so we can go in, because there's a due date. I know we're ahead of schedule a little bit, but we planned it that way because there might be a long list of waiting. Alan? Al?
Can I follow up on John's
Sure.
comment that he just made?
Sure.
Like a lot of things, when everything works and there's no problems, we walk away and say, wow, we did a good job, and we should. But I also think if this is an operation that you're running in town and there's contractors and people coming in and out of a shop or a building, if it's a town facility and there's an issue with somebody getting hurt, there's an accident, whatever, it's pretty clear that it was a town function and the accident happened on town property. But it gets a little different when somebody like Jamie is hosting it. Does he take on responsibility for liability? Obviously, he has insurance, but should he have to take on the liability of insurance? When it was a town function, he just happened to be hosting it. So if everything works out, we don't address those problems, but sometimes it's good to look at those things ahead of time and say, well, it makes sense to do it this way because.
Well, that's a good point.
Madam Chair, would you just kindly explain, would somebody kindly explain why we would not use the town garage for that purpose? I mean, why do we even have to make a choice? Why wouldn't we just use the town garage?
If you can't get to it sometimes, because the road's washed out.
If it's not accessible.
If it's not accessible, you can't use it.
So that's why you have another option, which is a town hall.
I'm sorry, John, I don't know a lot about trucking, but it doesn't seem to me town hall would be a good place for trucks to reconnoiter during the flood. So there must have been some alternate place for the trucks to go. And if we're gonna use an alternate place, if the garage is not acceptable, why don't we just list that as the third alternate place?
Where you list the corner house.
I guess I'm just not understanding.
That's all tempting.
Just getting too blown out of.
Yeah,
Yes, we need to move on. We need to accept what we have down, for the local emergency plan.
We gotta use it.
Say that again, I'm sorry, I was talking.
I'm thinking that if we say we're gonna use the town garage, and we say that sometimes the town garage is not acceptable. In our plan, why don't we have, if the town garage is not acceptable, where things go? And that seems to make such reasonable sense.
I kind of agree with your way, because you can't line up 110 wheelers outside here
No,
at the town hall, so that's why.
so what, and on the plan,
Whether
there's,
you're down to Jamie's or Wilson Lawrence's or some other place,
On the-
that's why they were there.
I understand.
on the plan, there's
First 2
room
days,
for
you couldn't
three.
get to the town garage, but after that, you could, so stuff should have been moved up there, that's all.
There's room for three, primary, alternate, where you go.
It's not
I
really
don't
that
think you
big
should
of
be
a.
doing these things on the fly.
I just like to move on.
Okay, so
I'm just gonna make a point, Kathy, if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
I completely agree with Robbie and Al that liability is a serious concern. But if we are ahead of the date in which this has to be submitted, maybe some more discussion is warranted before you make a final vote. And just to, in particular, look into the liability situation.
Well, we stayed in it, but what we're using the town garage or the town hall, we're not using any other place. So the liability would be taken care of.
If you use it.
Yeah,
Which last one?
I make a motion that we move on, we can accept that.
Okay.
And I take your point, but it is due on 6/1, so we're not gonna have another meeting. Prior to it's being due. I think these are all valid comments. I think we have a primary, we have a secondary. I think. Hopefully we'll get more culvert work done on Fisher Hill. So there won't be washouts of roads, so, that works. I think that, a decision can be made if you need a third, temporary location, and Ron's point, once the primary is available, move back to the primary, as states in the plan. But I think because it's due on 6/1, we gotta vote tonight. Or we won't have another meeting.
with all due respect, there's room for tertiary, alternative here. Primary, alternative 1, alternative 2, it's right here on the plan. So if it's not accessible, why can't we put somebody
Well,
in
usually-
alternative 3?
They usually don't take us long to get it accessible, because all our town stuff is on there, so it's only like 2 days or whatever to get up there. It might be one way.
And I think the point that was being made was there was a temporary place for 2 days, and then Ron's point is, then once it was restored, it wasn't moved back. And I think, I acknowledge that for the plan, we move it back. When it's open, so.
Okay, I will second your motion. So all in favor of the short-term rental,
No,
no, sorry. The local emergency management plan for 2026. All in favor of it? Is
fine.
anybody opposed? Motion carries. Local emergency management plan for 2026.
We just did that.
I just said it.
They're on 11.
I just said that, didn't I? Short-term rental ordinance discussion and vote. Sorry.
That's okay.
I did put discussion down because there was, lots of information out there about the short-term rental as it stands now. I know we did, we had to redo the posting of it. And I looked over the plan and I believe there needs to be some amendments. For the authority section on number 1, you need to add the 15, the enforcement part, because right now, when you're talking about an ordinance, you're talking about the law and you have to follow the state law.
Can I just make a suggestion?
Sure.
As opposed to, if you want to table the vote and address those, I think it would be helpful if we all had the copies and we could look at it together or get back into a discussion mode, but I don't know how to comment on any of these new changes on the fly. I was not aware of this. I did a lot of work on it, so I have no idea. So I would actually I would like that we then step back and maybe you and I, or in a special meeting just for this, regroup yet again. Because I don't think I can't do this on the fly. I didn't know anything about it till I walked in here tonight. And I have a tremendous amount of input,
I know you do.
from the fire chief in Springfield, his language, everything that has been put in here. So if that's okay with you, I think that knowing, looking at it, questioning why our lawyer has approved it, and it's mirrors the VCLT, the VLCT plan, I could simply say, okay, let's change it. I think I couldn't support that right now. But I think we could have a discussion about it. Sorry, interrupt, but I think going through it line by line may not be the most productive thing.
Yeah, there were some specific things that needed to be added or taken out to make it follow VSA 24 VSA 2291.
So can we agree to meet and go through these and see what's going on? And talk to our lawyer again and do all the proper procedure?
Yeah.
It's a big deal. There are a lot of interested parties.
Yeah, and they're here.
So I don't think we'd want to give it I think we want to give it the attention it deserves.
So if you want to make that motion,
I'll make a motion to, not to postpone any vote and head back into committee discussion on the short-term rental ordinance.
I'll second that. All in favor of the motion that Anna just made on the short-term rental? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, we'll set another meeting to discuss and go over the short-term rental. Thank you, Lana. Sure. Any other business?
Okay, I have another business, but I'm gonna do the update first. It says update from Athens Grafton School District.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
If you can follow all my notes. You're at that meeting. There's a lot happening with, the school formula. We did meet, school board did meet, let me get my notes here, on the right page. We met April 9th. And it was nice to have some community folks visit us. which is rare. But it's nice to have input. The principals did a report. We have 28 students. We have several students that have 504 plans, EST plans, behavior plans, and special ed plans. About 39%. There was a behavioral report with 35 behavioral referrals. 234 for the whole year. Our school is on a continuous learning plan, all of our schools in the SU. They did a survey of all the parents at Grafton School, and those came back mostly positive, but there were two that were not. I don't know the number of surveys they did. She did not give us that. There will be summer tutoring this summer. And there's an open art position. It's a one-day position. Still it hasn't been filled. On May 4th, there's a teacher appreciation week, and they asked the school board, our school board members to write some notes of appreciation for the teachers. Memorial Day is on May 3rd, it's a Saturday, because I did ask if the children going to be participating, and because it's a Saturday, she didn't think the kids would be involved unless parents want to bring the children to the parade and the services at the cemetery. Old business, we did have Cheryl Charles come in. She is the chair of the Westminster School Board and also our chair for the supervisory union. Very knowledgeable. She also is chair of the Rural School Committee Alliance, which advocates for our school, Grafton Athens. It also advocates for over 110 schools in the district. It's a collaborative, it's 501(c)(3). It's dealing with equity issues for all the schools, not to force merging for the schools. It's done a lot of research on what positive things that rural schools are doing. It's recommended that Grafton Athens and our SU stays in SU to hold our 5 schools. We share transportation, the food services, the professional development for our teachers. And special ed. It keeps the costs down, but yet we do have costs, especially with special ed. The class size, we're pushing for certain class sizes, and what happened this year for Grafton Athens, we had to combine kindergarten, first and second, because the minimum size was 10, and now we have 14 in that 3 grades. But now the state has come in and said, we can't do that next year. We have to have just 2 grades. So we had to hire a kindergarten teacher for next year. They're also advocating that schools should have shared services like what they're doing at Wyndham Southeast. And we have a BOSI's plan, and I believe our school is one of the first supervisory unions that has accepted this. And that's one of the key things that they want other schools to be doing, is to share the services to keep the cost down. The rural school community advocates again, not forced mergers, and not the class sizes. So what the House has done, they just passed on April 17th, House Bill 955. So we don't have to have forced mergers, they'll be voluntarily mergers, or some schools have already closed, the rural schools. And also to have communities do a vote if they want to keep the school open or close the school. They want to have local control. Now, House Bill 955 is now going to be passed on to the Senate. And it's going to change because they want to force mergers. Governor Scott wants to have that formula to reduce taxes. In the timeline, with the House Bill 955, with the House, they changed the timeline to 2030, which is a long span of time. It doesn't address reducing taxes for the towns. And that's why Governor Scott wants to push it. So there's going to be a lot of changes. We're hoping that what's proposed by the Rural School Community Alliance will hold. There's no evidence right now of putting all these schools consolidated if it's going to save money. We don't have those figures, and the rural school community has really pushed to get that evidence. We don't have it. There was talk about doing a sustainable study. There's a proposal for Athens Grafton School to look at what happens if we keep the school, what are the costs going to be? If we close the school, what's going to be the cost? It's a 6-phase plan. And there's a meeting, a special school meeting this month, April 30th at 6 p.m. at the Grafton School. The consultant is DY Consulting LLC. His name is David Yance, and he's going to be in person at the school to discuss this study. It's costly. And each phase has a price. There's a lot of information. It's all good information. My question, when this was presented, I think this SU has a lot of that information already. We know the costs are high. The sustainability for Grafton is that question. But when we had the financial report at this meeting, it looks all good. We are sustaining money-wise, and we'll have about 370,000 surplus moving on to next year. And Hardy does a great job on the board financially to keep us in tune. And I think he also gave us the tax rates for next year. It'll be a little bit lower, like 0.5 for Athens and maybe 1% increase for Grafton next year. Maybe don't quote me, it might be 2%. So that's kind of the gist of what was going on. There's a lot here in my notes. There was a lot of discussion again on special ed. And the process, if there's a concern, if a parent has a concern with the special ed. You talk to the classroom teacher, you go to the case manager, you can go to the principal. You can go to the special ed director, and then you go to superintendent. We do have some changes coming around with some resignations. The special ed director, Heather Willis Doxey, is leaving. And our principal at the high school will be resigning. So there's a lot of changes happening. And I just hope that we have some positive outcomes with all this for Grafton. So that's my report.
Can we ask questions? I have two questions. One is, has there ever been a discussion about a teaching principal at the board level? Has that ever been considered?
When we did budgets, we have talked about that, but it didn't go through because the budget was already made for the principal. So we couldn't change it.
Okay.
We have changed the nurse as part-time. And that's working out for this year.
And then my second question is there ever discussion at the board level about the effect on children's learning in such a small school? I know it sounds like a good thing with class size being so small, but socially, is there ever discussion about research and whether it's beneficial for children to be in such a?
Since I've been on the board, no, it hasn't.
My professional experience firsthand seeing it, it's not great. I worked with really large classes up to 27, with small of 9, and I've seen smaller here at Grafton. I'm just talking to my own kids when they were in school, and it's bigger than it is now, and watching their experiences. So, not just socially, but academically.
Mhm.
They share all their work and they learn from each other, and it's really great to have kids see what each other is
Right.
doing.
I agree with that.
It doesn't take a lot of studies, it takes everything.
Yeah.
I was curious, you were talking about it's an expensive process to have someone come and lead these meetings, who's paying that?
Good question. There was, I know Mary can correct me if I'm wrong. We did have the SU meeting and Andy, Haas, the superintendent, talked about the shared services, that there's gonna be a grant. I think, is it Edgar? I have it down. There was a grant that's gonna cover some of this shared services, and I don't know. He talk about consultants coming in. I'm not sure if this is part of that grant. I'm not sure. Mary, do you understand this? Yeah,
Because right now, there's arguments that the SU should be paying for the consultant. It was only discussed in your school board. It
Yeah.
wasn't discussed at the SU level. And then, it could be another way to solve the problem.
right.
I think one of the things to remember is that the House has been working on 955 and the Senate's been working on their version, and they haven't done the crosswalk yet.
Right.
So that's when the rubber meets the road and they'll have to come up with something. It could be a total rejection, more than likely it won't.
Yeah.
And something's gonna come out of that, and
Yeah.
so we're gonna see that hopefully by mid-July.
Yeah. There was a July date, July 1st.
It's speculative, it's
Yeah.
somewhere in July.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're hoping things will just fall apart and Act 73 will go away, but
Sure.
yeah, go ahead, Mary.
Sorry, I have a question, just that were the school to close like Jamaica and Wyndham and Marlborough, it's a horrible thought. But we still have those precious brains and children. Where would they go? As I don't hear people talking about what's next, or what are the options, just like the emergency management center. A, option B, option C.
Well, I think from what I gathered at this meeting, we had, there are some folks that want school choice. And the choice most likely may be, if it closes, they would go to Rockingham. Some parents, or a parent, may say, well, I think I live closer to another order. It's closer if they go to this school rather than going all the way up to Saxon's River or Rockingham. School choice, I guess you have to be on on an approved list. A school has to be on an approved list from the State Board of Education. If you're not on that list, then you can't send your kid to, another private school. If that private school's not on the list, they can't go. And apparently the Putney School's not on that list,
The grammar school?
the grammar school.
Independent school, it's not a private school, and so that's why it's not on that approved
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
Even though for quite a while, students from Grafton have been going there for middle school,
Right, I think we have a couple there.
quite a while.
It's just so confusing to follow all this and make sense of it. Because it changes.
There's a meeting at the Brattleboro High School.
Yes.
You have a,
Um,
it's coming Saturday, I think it's.
Yeah, this-
In their auditorium, to talk about. access
Community
to
forum.
training, what it's going essentially to do to our communities. And I think it was amazing that Brattleboro discussed to Wyndham South, asked Wyndham Northeast to join them.
right,
That's a great time to, or call me or email me and give me your question.
yeah, April 23rd, Act 73, Community Forum, Brattleboro High School, Wyndham Northeast and Wyndham Southeast, Wyndham Central, a lot of speakers and legislatures. And there's a Zoom link if you don't want to go to Brattleboro.
I didn't hear.
There's a Zoom link. If you don't want to go in person, you can go on Zoom. So all you guys can go on the Zoom. I don't have that. It's in my computer. So I'm hoping that,
You can get any of that at wnsv.com.
Okay.
You can post it
Is
there.
it the 23rd or the
When we're at it.
23rd or the 25th?
It's Saturday, whatever
That's
that
the
is.
25th.
That's a 20.
25th.
Okay.
So that would be good information. And actually this plan, this sustainability plan came out of the pre-town meeting that we had. Thank you, Cheryl, for stepping up to voice your opinions, and that got us moving. But I wasn't expecting this plan by a consultant. I thought within our school board district, we could form a community forum.
That was absolutely my idea.
Right. And then this is like, this plan to $20,000 for each phase. And I,
Hardy wants to say something, he's on.
okay, Hardy, go ahead.
I think this meeting on the 30th is going to be very important. And I think it's very important that we consider the plan that this consultant has given us, because we need to get this rolling and we need all of the options on the table. What we need to do, because financially, the only thing that is really saving us right now is all of the surpluses that we have, which are going to run out. And when they run out, there will be a big problem financially with the way the school is presently run. So I would suggest that if people are interested, that they might want to listen in or go to that meeting on April 30th. Thank you.
Thanks, Hardy. All good points. Because we need direction. We need answers. And not speculation. Suzanne?
Thank you, Kathy. I have a question. On April 30th, is there already a draft plan by the consultant that we need to look at before we go to the meeting on the 30th? I thought that's what I heard Hardy say.
No,
Well,
we're going to be deciding whether to hire him to come
Yeah.
forth with his proposal, and he will present what his proposal is and what will result from that proposal in the
All right.
end.
Thank
yeah,
you.
you get all that information.
And Kathy, my second question is, please, when the next school year starts, how many students are gonna be at GES?
I don't know,
My
It
guess,
changes.
my guess is
Go
probably
ahead.
26.
26.
my guess.
We try to track it. But then children move or children come in. We have 2 tuition students. We did have 4, but 2 left. You know, it always changes.
There are 2 kids
and-
from Westminster. There are 2 kids from Westminster. There are 2
Mhm.
kids from Londonderry who are tuition. And one of them graduates, and probably that means the other one won't be there next year.
So does the 26 include those 2? Or 1 or none?
We don't know.
Are we gonna be less than 25 students here at GES come the fall?
Maybe.
I can't answer it, Susie.
Okay.
We don't know.
I don't think.
We don't
it's
know.
28 though.
You just said you have to decide whether you're going to hire this consultant, but you still don't know how they're going to pay, so how can you decide? When you don't know where the money's headed.
I can't hear you.
You said that you don't know where the money is going to come from to pay the consultant, but you have to decide whether you're going to. That.
We have plenty of money in our surplus to pay the consultant if we desire to hire him.
Maybe you're right. So we have made it real happy, but I heard it.
Yeah. Yeah, the
You
money.
know, we're trying to keep the school going.
Right.
And saying that it's difficult financially, we're all upset with our taxes. And yet there's all this money, oh, it's in there, let's just pay a consultant $20, it's not sitting too old me person.
One of the problems that came at that school board meeting, if I can, Kathy,
Sure.
is that everyone said, well, who's going to do the study? That's part of the problem. Everybody
Mhm.
at SU already has a job. Everybody in the school has a job, it's all prescribed, and so you have to come up with somebody with knows what they're doing to do the study. You said a focus group, but that's still energy, and that's what came up at that meeting there, and I said, who's gonna do it? So they're gonna have this meeting, and you're welcome, I mean, great for people came.
Yeah,
To discuss.
and bring your questions. I understand. I did a little research on this guy, Dave Yoff. He's highly qualified. He was superintendent of the year way back. He has a wonderful background. I'm not gonna fault him, but as I already said, we need answers, and direction. And even if the school closes, you still need direction. What do you do with this building? There's a lot of statutes and rules and regulations on that building. And it's gonna be costly. It's gonna be a freebie here. It's my shameful. Public comment. Suzanne.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you very much for bringing up the issues of Edison workers and giving us an update.
Oh, I
That
have
was
2
great.
hats.
I know, that was really great. And just real quickly, I have a question about the upcoming planning commission meeting. It's gonna have this special meeting, and on the agenda is
Mhm.
writing a, drafting a
181.
request to repeal at 181. I am formally requesting that if there is a draft letter that is under review, to be reviewed at that meeting, that the draft letter gets sent out in advance of the meeting.
It's not gonna happen.
Oh,
It's gotta be approved. You have to approve, the planning commission has to approve the draft before they send it out. That was discussed this last meeting.
so is there a document circulating among the
No.
planning commission?
I don't know that. Buzz can
There-
answer that.
There is among the planning commission, just. And to avoid having any quorum issues, Matt Siano sent it individually, for feedback to come back to him individually. And then he's gonna incorporate it. And that's what's gonna be discussed in the meeting on the 28th, to finalize. So there's not really a final draft for review prior to that, but then it would be made available for.
So it sounds like there's a document circulating among the planning commission that's gonna result in a draft that will be presented at the planning commission meeting.
Yes.
Okay, I would ask you to consider a couple things. First of all, when a document is circulating among a public body, It is my understanding that that document is already public. Now, you can check that, I may be wrong, but I have said that that document is already public. The other option would be that, that the document is circulated on the day of the planning commission meeting or something to that effect, so that there's any chance at all, to review the draft before the meeting.
On it being public, I'll try to validate that.
Okay,
Eric Stevens tends to be our, kind of moderator of those topics. He's the one that suggested that it go out individually and feedback come back individually to Matt, so there's no coordination of, feedback or input, before that meeting. So his understanding is that's acceptable. I'm more than happy to follow up.
I appreciate that very much. Such a procedure would certainly violate open meeting.
Open
the
meeting
meeting
law.
law for the select board. Because that would be considered serial collaboration prior to a public meeting. But I'm not sure the same thing applies to the planning commission. So I appreciate that you would check that out for us.
I take your point and I'm more than happy to check it out, but it's not like being re-passed around, it's just. To each individual and every individual gives their input to that and then it'll go to the public. But
Yeah.
we'll validate if that's an issue.
If you can figure out a way that
To see it
to
before.
be able to be a member of the public and come to that meeting prepared, which I think is a desirable way to have a good meeting.
For sure.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate it.
I'm sorry, Lisa.
I have a related question, but stepping back at least one step. Who requested this letter? According to the agenda, it says the requested letter. Who requested the letter?
Who initiated it? I think it was, and pardon me if I'm wrong, I think it was either Eric or Matt or a combination of the two. And the fact that there have been a lot of open letters that have been created by individuals, other planning commissions, other select boards in the state. There does seem to be kind of a groundswell developing against Act 81, 181. There was a protest in Montpelier. The VLCT actually came out and made a decision on their part that Act 181 as it's written today does not meet the objectives that were stated by, the original law and is not sustainable, for Vermonters. So the Senate is actually, looking at a bill, and I apologize, I don't remember the number, 3 something, that is going to either put a hold, they're still kind of talking about it, either put a hold on it or repeal. The pieces of Act 181 that I think most people have an issue with are the tier 3 maps and the road rule.
Yeah.
Right, that kind of really restrict development on your own property. As Eric Steven knows, he calls it sneak and statewide zoning. And I think, a term similar to that may make it in the letter, I don't know. From Eric. But so that was, I think everyone on the planning commission does have issues with Act 181 and how it's been developed, and a lack of public discourse and input. And so wanting to, share the input from Grafton on behalf of planning commission.
Yeah.
And hopefully public.
Yeah, thanks, both, that, helpful. However, I am questioning is the plan that the planning commission send out this letter? Because I don't think the planning commission has the authority to speak on behalf of Grafton's town government. I would think that it would have to be the select board that can speak for Grafton's town government.
I was asked this question, independently, from this meeting. So I did personal research, and I'm gonna say that it's just me, that kind of looked at, what the VLCT had out there and internet research, if you will, on the laws. The planning commission is not restricted from sending a letter, to the best of my knowledge, especially if it involves land use or zoning. It is recommended that they involve the select board, and that is the plan, to share this letter with the select board. But we did talk about putting the planning commission's name on it and sharing that. And I do not believe that's prohibited, to the best of my knowledge. But I don't think we as the planning commission intend to do everything that we don't share with the select board as well.
Well, it would be good to hear from the select board about this. Is the select board?
Let me change my hat. Yeah, I take your point.
Yeah, you are both, of course, I realize that, but there's other members on.
Yeah, I'll let them speak.
I don't think I could speak on it until I see what this letter says. I don't have an issue really with the planning commission. Have it formulating a statement, and then I couldn't even begin to judge or I say anything until I see the content of the letter. At least that's what gut reaction. And then, yes, I do think that if it's, I don't know, I guess if it's okay for the planning commission, I don't know, I guess I can't respond until I know what's in the letter.
I kind of agree with you. I'd like to see what the letter said.
It's just too much.
And so we did set, and I think they've published it, or
May.
so that the public's aware of it, set a special meeting for May 28th. And we did that intentionally so that we could review the letter and hopefully get to a draft or a close to final draft before the next select board meeting, which I think is on
May,
the 4th
in May.
of
No,
May.
yeah.
So we did that actually to make sure that we can involve the select board, but still hopefully have something to share before it's too late and the legislative vote has left the dock, right? This is being debated now, right? So, yeah.
And this is a letter that would go to the legislature or just to like the media?
So
Well, there's several addresses they were gonna put
Yeah.
on that.
what we talked about is that it's a letter to be shared to some, who can make an impact. So we were thinking the governor, the Senate, the House, and the Land Use Review Board would be the personnel. Now, whether, you share it with the media, we hadn't talked about that specifically. It was more the legislative bodies.
Can I comment on that? 'Cause I took notes.
I'm sorry,
I took notes. You want me to comment?
sure. Kathy was at the meeting.
Yeah.
We talked about it.
The letter we sent to the Senate, the House, the Governor, VLCT, Wyndham Regional
Oh, yeah.
Commission, and Grafton News. And it would be presented, after the April 28th meeting. It would come to us on May 4th. On the agenda to draft the letter, formalize it. For the select board, from the select board. To be sent out.
Yeah, and I think our intent is,
The draft letter. Would come to the select board from the planning commission.
and our hope would be that it's good enough and maybe with some input and changes. the select board is happy to put their names on it as well, but we do plan to have the planning commission.
As long as the blind are leaving the blind, because no one knows what this plan and statement is about. I think it would be extraordinary that the planning commission could go to, on its own will, send letters to the leadership of the state on behalf of this town without the support of the elected select board.
Oh, we don't intend to, but
I think it would be extraordinary to do that and even think about it and have this board, regardless of what it says, endorse it. So I'm just saying that I'm in contradiction of what has just been said.
I'm confused as to what you're,
What I'm saying,
yeah.
what I'm saying is it'd be legitimate for the planning commission
To do
as an instrumentality of the town to send to the select board a recommendation to send to the governor and the senate and all these things. But to do it on its own, regardless of what the select board says, I think doesn't feel right.
Okay, that's all. I thought that's what you were saying, I wanted to be clear. You said it would be extraordinary.
Was his proposal.
I'm not sure what Buzz is proposing, he doesn't know. He hasn't.
Write a draft letter, and then once it's done, it's gonna give it to the select board.
I'm 1/5 of the planning commission here, right?
Yeah.
But what the planning commission is proposing is to draft this letter, share it with the select board. Hopefully the select board agrees with the draft and the sentiments that are expressed in this letter. I do believe that from everything I've researched, yeah, we want the select board, we're not planning on doing it independently. I don't think there's a barrier in the planning commission sending it. If it's something to do with land use, zoning, or there's one more thing, right? So. But that's not the intent of what we're doing, we're gonna include the select board and share it.
Okay, no, Al, I don't agree with Buzz.
It's not.
No, it's,
I suggest someone read, you can look it up right now, and read it right now. What are the powers of the planning commission? They're a stronger unit than you think. They are in charge of all the planning for anything that it is the infrastructure of the town that has to do with land development. So they're in charge of them. And I suggest that before you start saying what they should or shouldn't do, just go read it's around 4,400 of the code. It'll tell you what the powers are.
Yeah, and these are two different things. There's the code, there's what you're allowed to do. There's what we're doing, which is to involve the select board.
I think you also made the point, though, that you would identify yourselves in the letter as the Grafton Planning Commission,
Yes.
not speaking for the town. That's a very, very important distinction that you made earlier, and you just didn't make it when you explained it through to me.
I think we've said enough of this, they're working on the letter, they're gonna present it on their next meeting. We'll get it, we'll bless it, and it goes on to,
Or none of that.
or it doesn't go on.
And we welcome public input and select board input, right?
Yeah,
If you
that's
just, if you're all for 181 and you agree that, you're against the letter, okay. That's fine.
Thank you.
Are we still on public?
Yeah, we're still on public comment. Go ahead, Alan.
So I attended the annual meeting like many in this room, and I heard Bill Kearns announce that he would like to step down or work his way into retirement from emergency management director. At this right after that meeting, I was asked by the deputy emergency manager if I would consider filling the vacancy that Bill is hoping to create. And I told Eric that I had some health issues and some things going on that I didn't want to commit to something that I thought would be a short-term committal, and I'd rather work to build a team or
Mhm.
long-term commitment. And he asked me if I would be willing to mentor a group of people or help to develop something in town. And I said I would. And I met with Buzz to kind of run some ideas by Buzz, because some of what I would envision would require some computer skills and people comfortable with computers and some endorsement by the select board. So at the same time, there was a meeting, well, within an hour of our meeting, there was a meeting here that involved one select board member and Bill and the town road crew, and they were talking emergency management. But the deputy wasn't invited to that meeting, so I'm wondering, is there a plan or where is the select board on developing their or maintaining their emergency management in town? If you know, I thought I was talking to the person that's gonna be acting emergency management director until they got resolved, so. My offer is still good to mentor if there's a receptive audience, but I'm not interested in pushing myself on it. It was a request from Eric and I respected that and said, yes, I would be willing to work with people, but I'm just interested where the select board is on the process or what your thoughts are on filling the potential that Bill has asked for.
I attended that meeting that was actually before you guys had your meetings. Yeah, or already scheduled the meeting to get together.
I was at the highway garage at noon time with Buzz, and when I came from after I left that meeting, I came here and your meeting started at 1, because the road crew was at the highway department eating lunch when we were there.
But you were, it had already been planned, I mean, it was on the calendar.
Yeah,
Several weeks
plan, I
before.
was saying.
Right, I was gonna say, it was.
The sequence of how it happened was.
Go ahead, Phil.
Eric is invited to that meeting. The whole committee met to go over what we had done in the past and what we needed to go over for response to a emergency, much like what happened when we had the big storm here, right? But that's what we went over, just to make sure that everybody was aware of the stuff what needed to be done. And I've written a pamphlet that goes over the what needs to be done in order to respond immediately to respond to a disaster, so that and long before FEMA arrives, because they don't arrive for 5 days, what you needed to do and what regulations you needed to follow in order to be able to produce the applications for reimbursement that are proper. And so it was, and that was based upon my dealing with other towns that don't do what we do, that don't know how to respond right at the beginning. And so we went over that with everybody, which was appreciated by everybody, and we went over just verbally, or orally, I should say, what the persons who do the sign up for the truck drivers and make all those arrangements, if they had all their work, and we're satisfied that they do. So we're all ready to go if there's something that happens. And again, everybody on the committee, including Eric, was invited to that meeting. Don't know why he wasn't there.
Well, It may well be Eric was invited and he missed it.
I don't think
His
we need
words
to
to
discuss
me,
this, we don't need to discuss this, I'm right.
he just felt he was. I'm sure it's
Well, I'm glad that you guys met. I wasn't part of it.
Well, it's already been done.
It's already done.
Okay,
Oh, nothing else has to be done.
the question is, how much do I get paid?
We're not doing it.
When whoever is the emergency management director, well, not necessarily, but most likely whoever's the management director is gonna do things in the administration of the work to recover. Whatever that person is paid 100% by FEMA.
Used to.
$10 not $50.
I was charging $40. I was charging $40. What I think that is really low, but that's what I still charge.
You're not being indicted, it's just a figure, I didn't know.
I got $52 over in line.
So it's basically $4 an hour.
So, I think we kind of coincidentally had a couple of meetings, both to good purposes, and that's to train people. Al was kind of sharing with me, some of the tools and what had been used before. And I think going over the process and having it detailed out, that's great. I do think maybe having periodic review and training is a good idea. I don't know if that's already in your plan, that quarterly or, something like that to do a review.
But, I didn't get all that, but what I do have to add is that Eric asked me about VCAN that he shared with you, I think, and I wrote back to you both and said, if you guys want to do that, you're welcome to organize that. I'd like to be, I as whoever's emergency management director, and it's me right now, whoever that is, would like to coordinate with you. But there are a lot of things that, the emergency management, except for, fire safety, except for rescue and all that, the first 3 or 4 days, most of which is handled by the fire department. The individual assistance is not what we focus on, but it could be focused on more by we have enough to do to try to get stuff done without individual assistance. It's another portion of FEMA that it's a whole different section of FEMA. And if you wanted to go harder, that would be.
So maybe we can talk about that and maybe ongoing training in fire department, highway department, and maybe something.
I don't even know the job description, so I don't really
there's
even
a-
know, and we
I
don't
think
have to go
there-
into it now. But I think if you are interested in finding people, maybe we should publish that.
Yeah, and I'm just, understanding the nuts and bolts. I think some of what Al was showing me was like the tools and where they are and, the being ready to roll them out and use them. To go, fit into the bigger plan. I think it's all, it's, ex-military, drill and prepare, right? Yeah, okay. So maybe we can have some follow-up conversation. Yeah.
All right, I wasn't,
So I still have a question, which is the basic question I was after was, Bill has announced his interest to retire. And how is the select board?
we'd have to advertise for that position, and we may not find anybody here in town. We'd have to advertise it for outside. Having somebody come in that has those qualifications.
Well, Bill did post a notice in the Grafton
Mhm.
News, was that an advertisement? And there were 3 positions in that notice? Was that when you posted, you wrote something,
Grafton News.
but I don't know what those 3 positions entail. I don't know if people know, I don't know, you know what I mean? You wrote that thing a couple months ago, was it a couple months ago?
Of all the towns that I was in contact with in this area, none of them know what to do in response to a storm. So none of them have anybody who could say, well, I'll do it in Grafton because they don't do it in their own towns. It is, Jamaica wouldn't even tell me, because they asked me if I could help over there too, and I said, I'll help when I can, but I'm really doing Grafton and Londonderry. They couldn't tell me where the damage was, what it looked like. They didn't have pictures, they didn't have measurements, they didn't even have locations, they had nothing. So is there a person who can do the job?
I guess I appreciate your history, but I think that if you want interested parties, I don't know what the three jobs are and what they're, if we could create a job description so that then that could go in the paper so people could find out if they are qualified. Because apparently we're maybe pioneers in this, and that's great. I'm not undermining the work you've done whatsoever, but reading it in the paper, I said, oh, wow, there's three opportunities. What is the work? What's required? So that's just not to be answered right now, but going forward, if you're posting something, we need to know what it means, and that's my only point.
I don't know what to answer you there.
I don't expect an answer right now at all. I don't think this is the time or the place.
Just put it on a future agenda.
Yes, it's not, I don't think we need to have this, I don't want to have this conversation now, it's our audience. It's just,
Point station, we need somebody in the role.
we know we need somebody in the roles, but what is the roles? It's just something going down the road to figure out if that document helps identify it, then the select board, we can identify the position. I don't know what it is.
I'm wrong though. Emergency management.
I have no idea.
Not.
No, he's not in the role, but pull together what. Yeah.
I don't think we promote that.
I'd be happy to work.
Okay, we need to move on to, our next regular meeting is Monday, May 4th, 2026 at 6.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have to, I need a motion to move into executive session for,
So moved. Motion to move executive session.
those in favor?
Thank you.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.